Hey everybody, coming at you from out in the wilderness. It's a nice breezy day and we're going to learn a few tricks with the compass. Okay, now this is sort of a requested video slash answering some questions, sort of. I've got my own questions, okay, but basically what I'm going to cover, odds and ends of everything, compass basics and a few questions here and there. But the end result of the video is I'm going to show you a dead accurate trick for navigating with a compass that it takes a bunch of extra walking, but it is very, very, very accurate. I mean very accurate, because you know, cell phones and GPSs are always good to navigate by, but sometimes you don't have a signal, sometimes the battery dies. So you know, the battery never dies on a compass. So anyway, let's lean the camera down and I'm going to talk a little bit about compasses real quick, and then I'm going to get into the nuts and bolts of my dead accurate process for navigation. Alright, so let's get this show on the road. Alright, compasses, good or bad, they say that the good ones are liquid filled. Alright, now most of the time these compasses wind up developing a bubble. Okay, this is a cheap compass. This is more expensive. This is like a $100 Suntoe compass, but see the bubble in it? Now when they develop a bubble, here's a problem. When they develop a bubble in them, that can affect accuracy, because as you can see, if it gets anywhere near the needle, look, watch, do you see that? Look at that. It's pushing, the bubble is actually pushing the needle. You can't have that. You have to pay attention to that. But what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to throw away a $100 compass and buy a new one every single time a bubble happens? I used to take these things and I would put it on the dash of my truck or my car in the heat, and the bubble would go away and things would be good. But then when I would go back into the house where it was air conditioned, the bubble would come back. And it got to where I was doing that back and forth until finally it got to where I would leave it on the dash of my truck and then the bubble just wouldn't go away. But so the thing with that is, I want to say, are you supposed to throw away a $100 compass? No. But what you're supposed to do, or what you can do, it's irritating, but say a normal cheap compass, a regular compass, you're supposed to hold it perfectly flat. Alright, if you lean it one way or another, then it's not as accurate. But this has got what's called a global needle. And see, this is just a needle floating on a little pivot. But this one actually has some sort of a wild looking mechanism. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a real complicated mechanism sitting in there. And a global needle is made for the southern hemisphere or the northern hemisphere, and it can be held at an angle. It doesn't have to be dead flat, and it can be accurate. So what I do is I will tilt it to a certain way away from my needle, like where I'm watching my needle. I will tilt it one way so that the bubble's at the top side, not touching the needle. So that's my dealings with this, because like I said, do you want to throw away a $100 compass every time you develop a bubble? You know, but if anybody knows any tricks for that, if anybody knows any kind of tricks for taking care of that and getting rid of the bubble permanently and forever, you know, please let me know. Say it in a comment section, you know, let others know, because I think everybody experiences those bubbles. But anyway, alright, now just a quick basic rundown real quick of how the compass works, and then I'm going to talk about dead reckoning. Now, I'm not talking about the new Tom Cruise movie. Not that kind of dead reckoning. This is a different kind of dead reckoning. A saying on a compass that's called red in the shed. And what that means is the red is going to be always supposed to be pointing towards magnetic north. Right? The shed, see the north? The shed is the little luminescent looking little lines there. Sometimes it's got a little arrow. Some compasses are a little bit different. So what you want to do is you want to turn this thing. Let's say, for example, I want to travel north. Okay, so what I do is I turn north up here to my travel dial, and then I will put the red in the shed, and then I will walk in this direction. Okay, say I want to travel east, well then what I want to do is I'll put this my travel direction will be east. So now I will turn and put the red in the shed, just like this. Okay. So what I'll do now is I'll travel east. Okay. Same thing with, say I want to travel south. Well, I turn up here to this little dial right here, right at the base of this mirror. I'm going to turn it to south. Okay. And then I'm going to turn it to where the red is in the shed. Right here. Now see, this bubble's in the way, so I'm going to lean it this way so the bubble's not in the way. Okay. Now I'm going to travel in that direction. All right. Makes sense? Clear as pie. All right. That's basically how a compass works. Now, this I'm going to have to get out my backpack, and I'm going to have to make a little note. All right. And now, what do you do? Okay, when you're traveling with a compass, okay, what do? Do you set it? Okay, do you set it? Do you just look off in the distance and just meander along? No, you don't just look at it and meander along. You use what's called dead reckoning. And what that is that's where you take your compass, and you got to have that little window in there. All right, and I'm going to show you. And this mirror right here is not for applying your makeup or squeezing your face. This mirror is for seeing this, and I'm going to show you exactly. I'm going to try to do it on camera. I'm going to show you exactly how to sight in on an object. All right, but they call it dead reckoning because you're sighting in on a dead object, on something that is dead still, preferably like a tree. That's what I usually use. But anyway, I'm going to show you something real quick on paper, and then I'll show you how to do that on the whole reasoning behind dead reckoning. Okay, I brought a notepad. All right. Now let's say, for example, okay, let's say that old Bo is hiking. Okay. All right, old Bo, his starting point is right here. All right. Now he's told that there's like a lake over here and there's all this kind of stuff, and the trail goes all the way around here, and he wants to follow the trail. All right. Well, he wants to wind up here, and they say that from the parking lot to here is north. All right. Now, if you just take your compass and you travel while you're looking at it, let's say you'll travel a little bit of a distance, and you're going north. Okay. And then next thing you know, you step beside a tree, and then you move over a little bit, but you're still going north. Okay. You do it again around a tree, and then you come across a rock, and then you're over here. Now this is what's called being out of parallelism, all right? Because what you've done, and everybody's got a dominant leg too. Everybody walks in a circle. People don't walk in a straight line. So if you're just meandering along, you may be going in a north direction. You know, you won't be going east or west or wherever, but you will be going north, but you'll be getting off a little bit, all right? Now what dead reckoning does, dead reckoning is where you start at a certain point. Hold on. You'll start at a certain point, okay, and you'll take your compass and you'll aim it at another dead object, which would be, say, another tree or a rock. Okay, now once you've seen it, you're going to travel straight to it, and if you want to, you can turn around and look back, and like say if you're traveling north, you're going to want to aim your compass directly at this object here to make sure that your compass says south, which, you know, would be 180 degrees from where you've just traveled. Okay, so now you're going to stand in front of this object, and then you're going to pick out another object, and then you're going to travel it. Now sometimes this can get tricky because, like say for example, there are no objects up here. Well, if there are no objects, you just have to kind of sight in. Like maybe if there's two trees here, you're going to have to say, well, I'm going to stand in the middle of these two trees right here. All right. Well, oh, I was down a little bit. If you're going to be standing, that's another reason for looking back. You don't always have to look back, as if you can directly sight in on an object, move to it. Well, if you've got where there are no objects, then what you can do is just walk in the general direction of in between these trees, and then when you get here, you can move back and forth with your compass and sight back in here and get 180 degrees off, and you'll be dead accurate then. So you'll be in a straight line. And as far as latitude and longitude, you know, you'll arrive at your destination. Okay. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to show you how to pick up on an object. All right. All right. So let's look at this compass here a minute. Okay. I want to travel east. So I'm going to turn my dial to my travel arrow. That at the top, right underneath that window, that's the travel arrow. All right. So we're going to travel east. And what we want to do is we want to aim this down, just like this. Okay. Let's see if I can see it. Okay, I'm going to try. Okay, now that's what the mirror's for. Look, see, I can move it up and down. See, there's the camera. Right there. Okay, now I think you can see it right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to turn it. Let's lean it down a little bit so that bubble's not in the way. Right. Okay, now see how the orange, the red is in the shed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this thing up. Now I don't know if you can see this or not, but I'm going to raise it up. Now I can see where this little line is right here, this little dip? That's what you want to aim. Now I'm holding this thing up. And direct east is right between those two big trees. Okay, now let me zoom in. Okay, see the big tree here, and the big tree here, and the little tiny one in the background? That right there just happened to line up with east. Okay, so what I would do there is I would walk to that direction, and then stand in front of it, and then I would look back here, and try to pick up to make sure that, or if I didn't lose sight of that object, because I've got a big field right here, if I didn't lose sight of this object, I would walk directly to it, and I would be guaranteed to know that I was correct. Now let's look at that again. Okay, this is very hard to see. I hold all this together. All right, now look at this right here. You see this right here? See how little bit I can turn it? See, the difference between those two trees is what's between those arrows there. Now let's see. I'm going to crank the camera up and I'm going to see if you can see what I'm seeing. Hey, wasn't that a song? Do you see what I see? Alright, let's crank this up a little bit here. Now, let's do this again. I'm trying, okay, now I'm hoping that you're getting this. Let's pull this down a little bit so I can see better. Alright, right there. You're looking for that tree to line up in that little groove. Is that clear as mud or what? That mirror, you'll aim it up or down until you can actually see what you're doing. Okay? And then you're going to look through the little window. Now, for some reason, some compasses, I don't know why. I don't even know why they sell them like this. I guess they're just good for just general navigation. But some of them, like this is a Silva. This is supposed to be a good quality compass. There's nothing to sight on. It's so weird. They expect for you to sight through the top. And I don't like that. What you do is you aim it down and then you turn it and then you'll sight through this little thing. I like sighting through the window much better. But anyway, it just happened to be, I want to show you something else. It just happened to be that when we sighted east in that direction, okay, you come over here, and I was standing right in front of this tree, right here, okay. So what I might want to do is, let's see, oh, here's something. If you have a lot of trees, what you can do, and I want to sight back. Once I get over there and I see I've traveled east, Well then, I want to look 180 degrees back, and I want to travel, I want to aim towards this tree. Well, let's do it like this. There you go, look at that. All right, now you're talking. See, I've got that X going across there. And so if there's a bunch of trees here that look like this one, then I'll be able to pick this one out, even if like I have to use binoculars or something to look back and forth. But that's for off in the distance, okay? That is dead reckoning, all right? Now, I'm going to show you the dead accurate trick for real dense, thick forest, all right? So we're standing here now, and let's say this is what we have to navigate through. Take a look around. Now, everything looks the same. Everything's thick. You can't see very far. You can't move very far. There's some hills there. How are you supposed to navigate through this? All right. Well, I'm fixing to show you how. Okay. You'll need a few things. So let's take this backpack off, and I'm going to show you what I feel like you're going to need. All right. You're going to need, you need something bright colored. Okay, you can use 2 ponchos, or you can use some orange or some yellow or some blue fabric of some kind. I use flags. Alright, these are orange flags made by the Hidden Woodsman. Alright, you need 2 of them. Alright, I'll show you more about them in a minute. Alright, you need the flags, and then you need some kind of a saw, folding saw, or possibly a machete, or possibly an axe. But what you're going to do is you're going to be cutting down 2 poles, 2 small trees. All right. Now, to keep from doing that, what I've done is I brought some bamboo with me that I got from by the river. Now, on your flags, what I like to do, anything bright colored, mine, or you can just take orange cloth, all right, and then sew some loops on the end of it. And what I like to do is I like to put bungee elastic cord on the end of it with cord locks. All right. Why this is all tangled up, I don't know. It doesn't usually look like that. That's bizarre. Anyway, I don't know why it's like that. Usually they look like this, but you just connect them to them. But anyway, that's what you do. All right, now I'm going to show you on the poles. If you won't encounter any kind of hills, if you're not going to encounter any kind of hills, you can have reasonably short poles, but if it's going to be real hilly, you need real tall poles. So I got some that, I don't know, I guess they're like 10 feet maybe. So, but I'm going to show you how I rig the flags on to where I like how it is. Because if you just rig one side, it'll hang a certain way, but I rig 3 sides so it'll hang a certain way. So if you're going to cut down any trees, make sure they're straight. You don't want them curved because it may throw you off. Because if you're standing somewhere where you're going to plant your flag, it may be leaning one way or another. So you want it as straight as possible. That's no big deal with bamboo. And I kind of sharpened the end of it. When I sawed it at an angle so I could stab it in the ground. Now let's show you something right here for a minute. What I do, I take my loops there like this, and I slide it on. Alright, now the top one, the way these things work is in this webbing, I've got this elastic cord on with a lark's head. And I just pull it tight and give it a little bit of a pull, and it's tight. And then the way I do with the other end is make sure the flag is pulled tight like that, and then I'll give it a pull this way. Alright. Now see, this is also like a emergency survival rescue type flag. You know, you keep this in your survival kit, that way if you're walking through the woods and you've told somebody where you're at and they may be searching for you, they may be looking for the flag. Alright. Now the way this thing, if I remember how this works, let me hold it up in the air. Okay, just like that. What you want to do, is you want to take the end, that's at the bottom of the flag and pull it down just like that. Let's wrap this thing around. Now that should stay. Now hopefully when this thing stands up, there you go. Now see, when it stands up, instead of it being, sometimes I would wrap it around the pole, but the way this is, it actually looks like an orange traffic cone. See how it looks? Let me see if I've got that in shot. I can't see the camera. Hold on a minute. Okay, there you go. You see it? I'm having a heck of a time getting that into shot. But it looks like a traffic cone. Hook the sides and then hook the side to the bottom of your flag and it'll make it look like a neat triangle like that. Even if you lay it down, when it comes back up, it's going to have a point like that. Okay, you've got one end of it free. All right, now let's see how this works, this method. So, wherever you're starting, you take your first flag and stab it in the ground at your starting point. Okay, now let's say we're going to generally go north. Okay, so I stand in front of it, in the general direction of north. I'll walk that way, but I'll be carrying my other flag. Okay, so that's the first step. Walk, turn around looking back, looking back, looking back. As long as you can see the flag, go as far as you can where you have a visual on the flag. And that's all going to depend on cliffs, hills, thickness of forest, stuff like that. So, first flag's planted, take the second flag and walk. Now I'm going to be winding up zigzagging through all the trees, but it doesn't matter because once I get there, I'm going to look back to this flag. You can see, I can barely see the flag. Now let's zoom in on it. See the flag? Alright. Now I don't know if this is going to show up on camera or not, but what I want to do now is right where I'm standing, I'm going to aim right at it. Now I've already moved the camera. Okay, let's see. Okay, right there I'm aimed right on the flag. Now I'm going to try to drop the compass a little bit. Because I can't see through the camera. Now see how that what was I going to say? I'm turned around now, okay, because I'm heading north. So since I'm turned around backwards, the red is going to be facing south because I'm aiming at the flag, and the white will be in the shed because I have the compass turned around backwards. Alright, because I'm traveling north. Does that make sense? Because if I was looking at it this ways, if I was traveling north, my compass would be pointing north. Does that make sense? But I'm turning it around this way, and the red is still facing, is pointing towards magnetic north, but since the compass is aimed backwards, it's south. It's hard to explain, but I mean, because I just walked north of the flag. So what I want to do now is I'm going to take this flag. Okay, I'm going to take this other flag right here, and we're going to stab it in the ground right here. Let's turn this around. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stab it right here in the ground. I think this is in line. Stab it in the ground and twist it real good, just like that. And so what I'm going to do now, and say I may have to move it a little bit, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stand in front of this flag, and I'm going to try to side off to the other flag. Alright, now see, I'm off a little bit. Okay, right here. Alright, now that's why I sided off of this one back to that one. Okay? Right where my right foot is going to be directly in line. So I'm going to move this. You want to make sure that the pole is as straight as possible. Alright. Now, the hard part about this is every time you do this, you have to walk back to your other flag. Now, that's why you want to put the flags as far apart as possible so you ain't got a bunch of checking and moving. But sometimes when you're over a hill, you have to do it in short increments like this. Now, this is a very, very accurate way because hills and thick forest, it is so rough to do it this way. So, now what I got to do is I got to walk down the hill and through the briars back to that flag. See if we can zoom in on it. You can kind of see, okay, there it is right there. You remember that thing was about 10 feet tall, and look at it how it just blurs in because it goes up the hill. So now what we want to do, hold on. Okay, there's the original flag right there. We're standing right in front of it. Okay, just like that. So what we want to do now is we want to come back over here. And I'm standing right in front of this pole. Okay, let's zoom in. Alright, now, you may not can see it on video when I do that. I don't know if you can or not. But now what I want to do now is what we're doing is we're going to double check before I pull this out of the ground. Now you remember a minute ago the white was in the shed because I had the compass turned around backwards. When we were standing up on the hill, I had this thing turned around this ways. So that meant the red was still pointing towards magnetic north. Well, now that we came back to our first flag, check it out. Now let's turn it this ways. Alright, the red is in the shed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick sight. Look, I have to raise this up real high. Let's see if I can raise you up parallel to the flag. I don't know if you can or not. I have no idea. Alright, so now see, I can't see. This is way up over my head, but that's what you want to do is that you want that little sight, that little dip right there where that luminescent white line is. You want to put it right on that flag and make sure that thing is red in the shed, okay, because you're traveling north in that direction. Alright, so let me go down for it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double check. I'm going to double check through the sight glass here, and then I'm going to pull this flag up, and then we're going to walk past that flag, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, we put a flag, we started, we went that direction, we put a flag and shot back towards this with a compass and picked up and verified we're in a north-south line, okay? And we're headed, our direction is north. Now we got two flags perfectly in line. It means I have verified they're in line, so now I can pull this up and just walk past that one. Now once I walk past it, I'll shoot back to it and plant the next flag. See, you getting it? See here, look, we're zigzagging all around. The taller the pole, the worse it is. I'm zigzagging back and forth. All right, now see, there's the other flag. There's briars everywhere, thorns. It's hilly. See, we're carrying our flag. Oh, those thorns. Now this is an easier process if you're just doing it and you're not filming it. But you see how I'm zigzagging everywhere like this to get up here? In a dense forest like this, oh my, hold on. My camera was falling. Alright, so now where are we at? Okay. So we're walking, and there we go. See? Look, it's hiding behind a tree. Move over and look. Hey, out here running water. Look, there's a creek over there. It's pretty neat. Alright. So we're walking, we're walking, we're walking, we're walking. We've got our flag and carrying it now. The forest is starting to clear out a little bit now. Like I said, this is a lot easier not filming it. Okay, there's a flag. We verified it. So there we go. We're going to walk right past that flag and we're going to meander on up this ways. And then when we get up here, we'll shoot back to it and then plant our next flag. We're up on a hill. Alright, let's keep going. Alright, I'm not going to move the camera right now, but I have pretty much traveled as far as I can. Now, I don't think I can pick up, I can't pick up what the hill I just climbed, but let's zoom in. See? There it is. Now I'm going to try something. I bet it'll be all blurry. Yeah, super blurry. I got to zoom out. Because see, I'm zoomed in on the orange. See how far away it is? Alright, so what we're going to do now, I can't see the orange. Okay, there it is. Right there. Okay, I'm holding it on the orange. Do you see that? And the red is in the shed. That's it. Okay, so I just verified now. Now that we've verified, and I've zoomed in and out and showed you where that 10-foot tall orange flag is, I want to show you what's behind me. Let's turn this thing around. Am I zoomed all the way out? Yeah. Once you turn around and look what's behind me. Look at this. See how thick this is? See, this is where you actually need a taller flag. Okay? But now, this is a very old school method of doing this. And the thing is, yes, it takes a lot of time. Yes, absolutely takes a lot of time. And there's a lot of walking, there's a lot of sighting. But the thing is, if you're not filming this, and if you're just walking, it's really a pretty fast process. It goes a lot faster than you would think. Okay? So, anyway, that's that. I hope you understand it. Flag, flag, check back, get that flag, go past the flag, check, and then stab the flag, and then when you go back to pick that flag up, verify back to this flag. It's dead accurate. Dead accurate. As long as it's as accurate as you look through that little window on your compass. Alright? So, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had fun. Hope you learned something. Any questions, put them in the comment section. If any of you have a direct fix for the bubble issue, please put it in the comments, because my fix is temporary. Right? I buy a $100 compass, develops a bubble. I put it in the dash of my car, my truck, my Jeep, out in the sun, bubble goes away, life's good. As soon as I bring it back in the house and put it in the gear room and air conditioning, here comes the bubble again. It's amazing. So if you know a fix, you know, or maybe, I'm sure somebody's just going to say, well, just leave it in the house. No, leave it outside. But the thing is this bubble hasn't gone away. It's came back and it's staying. So maybe it expanded and collapsed and expanded and collapsed to the point to where it won't do it anymore. So I don't know. Anyway, hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Looking forward to summer being over. I can't stand the heat and the humidity and sweating. And we shall. See you in the next one.